Thank you for having me back. You're right, I wasn't quite finished.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So, as Julian said, I'm back, and thank you very much. And Julian, I actually found this.
Oh, right.
2017, and my name's on it.
Your name's on it?
Yeah. That's how long ago I did the first talk for you. And I still didn't have enough time. So, just very, very briefly. I'm good, thank you. Very, very briefly, just to recap what we talked about, is what's organic, the difference between organic and non-organic food, conventional, and it was about organic food and why it's better for us, and why does organic food sometimes cost more than non-organic food, and we talked about what is organic farming. Does organic farm work in the long term? Is organic farming just for smallholders and alternative lifestyles? If organic farmers avoid agricultural chemicals and fertilisers, and how they look after their soils. And we talked about biogrow certification. And also, is it possible to grow export crops without using chemical sprays? Do organic farmers turn the clock back and use horses instead of tractors and other modern farming equipment? So there are a lot of small scale producers. Unfortunately, a lot of them also went during lockdown. There used to be quite a few, couple of big ones, and one in Hawke's Bay, True Earth Organics, and he unfortunately closed his organic growing business as well. I believe he was doing the last few years just doing export for organic blueberries because that is a lot easier and there's more money in it. And when he was growing in the abundance of whatever was seasonal produce, the price never ever came down. And he would ask us, we have an abundance, how many bins or crates do you want? And I would say, why are you holding the price? As we know, with conventional, when food is in the peak of the season, the price does come down. But with organics, that never ever happened. And we would tell the wholesaler, for the likes of Ceres, this is what you need to do. Get the price brought down so we can have that reduced price somebody at the door, so that we can give everybody that platform to jump on board of organics and start eating organic food. And then now we have why oppose genetically modified foods. And let's see. So, and it's where to shop. If you're not shopping at an organic health food store, then outer rim of the supermarket. And why outer rim? Is because the outer rim has all the fresh foods. All the end of aisles are all the foods that have all the chemicals and all the nasties in, and that's how they get you hooked. So there are some supermarkets that are certified organic. Ceres, one of our biggest suppliers, as a wholesaler, they are certified organic. We're certified organic. Common Sense Organic Stores in Wellington, one in Auckland, are certified organic as well, same as Cornucopia in Hastings, and Pico Whole Foods in Christchurch, Taste Nature in Dunedin. So there are quite a few certified organic stores around. So we talked about the cost of shipping and the cost of food in New Zealand. And like I mentioned, the New Zealand Supermarket News put out an item a few weeks ago stating that New Zealand pays the highest price for food in the world. I find that quite astounding. Little on New Zealand, green New Zealand. So adding to that news item, in the US, there are huge strikes in the US, and they haven't had any since 1977, that's a wee while. So what they're striking about is wages and the cost of living, and about automation. How that affects the jobs, that affects the already strained and stressed global supply chain. And this affects the continuous disruptions already because of, in the Red Sea regions, because of the war, what's happening in the wars. So now, as I outlined in the previous talk last month, all the costs of importing carriers implementing now an extra charge, which they're calling emergency recovery charges. So that's another one added to about the 18 or 20 fees that we're already paying. unfortunately that does get passed on to the consumer. So organic food safety. Navigating labels and finding local sources. The organic food industry has grown significantly, but challenges remain with labelling the integrity of organic foods. So we source locally, direct from the farmers, for organics, and are generally more reliable than the large-scale commercial organics sold in some other stores. So what we're also finding now with imported organic products, they face the issues of fraud and irregularity loopholes of group certifications. So what happens is that when some of these organic foods are in the containers, and what happens during that time of shipping, they actually change and relabel the paperwork. And how would we ever know? We have to be able to trust our sources of supply. So that comes down to us trusting who we source our organic food from, whether it be produce or whether it be grocery items. So it's kind of like one in particular that it does happen to are the hazelnuts from Turkey. So we need to take control of our food choices. So we buy local wherever possible, farmers markets, independent stores, and we source directly from the farm that offers integrity. You use online resources, that's what you need to do. You need to do your research. You need to check the organic certifications. And I often get asked in our organic section of produce, there's one that's agri-quality. And does anyone know who owns that?
Yeah.
Who?
The government.
Yeah, they do. And they used to be called Assure Quality. They too, fortunately now, because some of the growers decide to go with them for exporting, they use the agri-quality, they also too get audited, just like the auditor also gets audited, just like we do. So claims that guarantee grass-fed doesn't mean to say that it's certified organic. So the organic landscape can be confusing
Joyce,
and deceptive.
Sorry, just a question. You mentioned the auditor gets audited.
Yeah.
Is that like a sort of a global? Is
Yes,
there a
it is.
global overarching?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool because it guarantees integrity of everybody. And like I mentioned last month, we never get the same auditor because, you know, you can resort to bribery and things like that. So they send us a different one every time. And it's at very, very short notice, a week to 10 days notice, if that. And I'm really scrambling to get all the organic certifications of all my suppliers, whether it's local produce or overseas grocery items. And if my importers don't have it, they've got to get it for me. So that's that one time of the year when I'm in contact with all my suppliers, that this is what you got to do. And if anyone new coming on board is supplying me, I make sure that they've got current copy of the suppliers or the manufacturer or the producer's organic certification before I decide I want to do anything. If it's not current, they've just got to get it. So you have the power to make informed choices, we all do, and by seeking out local sources, understanding the labels and staying informed about industry practices. It is possible to find truly healthy, ethically produced food. Just to mention a few products. I mentioned last time, sea salt. Kosher, Himalayan sea salt or iodized sea salt. So what about the aluminum? What about the arsenic? What about the microplastics in the sea salt? What about the heavy metals? So Himalayan salt has some trace minerals, iron, manganese, zinc, calcium and potassium. Overall, its sodium content is lowered compared to table salt or sea salt. Sea salt is a healthy alternative. There are no chemicals, no preservatives or additives. And as mentioned previously, Himalayan sea salt has 75 essential mineral trace elements. Salt of the earth or Selena's kosher sea salt, which is from Brittany in France, unrefined, 100% natural, no additives, BFA certified, has 82 trace minerals. Hand harvested sea salt, so the mineral and the Celtic sea salt are in their balanced form. Irish sea moss, as I mentioned, has 92 minerals. Our body has how many? Told you guys last month. 102. Okay. So, another thing I want to mention is the blue zones. Who knows about the blue zones? How many are there? 5. So they hold the secret for the world's longest lived people. People were reaching age 100 at a rate of 10 times greater than in the US and with a lower rate of chronic disease. These communities are scattered across the globe and representing different cultures, and they have a few things in common. They minimize stress and they are more family orientated. They live and eat closer to their generation of their ancestors, if you like, what's in their DNA, what's in their genes. And they have mostly a plant-based diet. There's one in Greece, Icaria in Greece, Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, Loma Linda in California, and Nicoya in Costa Rica. So the one in Greece, I'll clean that up later. The one in Greece has the world's largest rate of middle-age mortality and dementia. The longevity is linked to the traditional Mediterranean diet. And we all do a bit of that. We love the olives, we do our olive oils, and we do whatever we do, which is heavy in vegetables, healthy fats, and contains a smaller percentage of dairy and meat products. In Okinawa, the longest lived woman on the planet, staple foods like Okinawa, they have the sweet potatoes, soybeans, mugwort, turmeric, and a bitter melon, which keeps the Okinawans long living, healthy lives. Also, the sweet potato, which we actually have here, is also known as Hawaiian blue. We only ever have that on the organic side. And also called purple dawn. They're amazing. We get them, they're seasonal. You just scrub them, you don't peel them, otherwise you're peeling away that layer of goodness under the skin. You chop them up and you roast them. And loads of organic coconut oil. And they are to die for.
What months do they come in?
Can't remember. Sorry, you have to come in store and find out. But they are very, very seasonal. Actually, I think we actually have them in now. But as you know, all root crops are only grown at a certain time of the year, and then they are stored. Nothing is grown the whole year through. Just like potatoes, they're grown at a certain time of the year, just like onions, and they are stored. So your conventional potatoes are dusted with a chemical to stop them from sprouting. Organic potatoes don't, and it's about this time of year when they start to lose a bit of moisture and they start to sprout. All you need to do is to pluck off the sprout, or you just recrop them and regrow them. I know back in the olden days they used to keep them in the sacks and bury them back in the ground. In Sardinia and Italy, cluster villages on the island make up the first blue zone region identified, boasting nearly 10 times more centenarians per capita than the USA. The Sardinians still hunt and fish and harvest the food they eat and remain close with family and friends throughout their lives. Something that I think is missing in this Western society. Very, very fragmented. We being Chinese, we still try to hold on to it and have certain gatherings at certain times of the year, and it's just great, and it's a whole lot of fun just to see the 3 or 4 generations get together. Harder to hold on to and as we become more westernised, but we cling to it. Loma Linda, California, a community of about 9,000 Seventh-day Adventists. They live as much as a decade longer than most Americans by following a biblical diet of grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. They don't drink alcohol or smoke. How about that? Nicoya in Costa Rica, they have the world's lowest rate of middle-age mortality and the second highest concentration of male centenarians, which Japan have the highest for women. Their longevity lies partly in their strong faith communities, deep social networks, and hold of regular, low-intensity physical activity. So it's not about how fast you work out, it's how well you do it. So also I want to mention that. How many of you know this lady? Mother of the Nation, I believe. So she's published this book in January called Evolving. She came and interviewed me. It's probably about a 4 or 5 hour interview. She had about 10 questions that she had preempted. I said, give me the questions and I want to do a bit of research. So I said, okay, what I wanted to do was do a bit of research on my ancestral background, the fact that I'm Chinese, research a bit more of that, and so that she could better understand why I was answering her questions and in the way that I was answering them. I also mentioned I gave her a lot of information for her to do her own research. Blue zones was one of them, and she did a really, really good job. I believe on Netflix they also screen a series of blue zones. It's been on once. It just finished screening just recently. On page 172, I'm on it. This is what it says. When researching this book, one of the inspiring elders, which I don't believe, one of the elders I spoke to was Joyce Lowyim. She was a powerhouse of a woman, always bright and cheery, full of energy and positivity. She also happens to run the organic greengrocer and health food shop right below the Pilates studio where I go, so I'm treated to seeing her often. If I had to pick 2 words to describe Joyce, they would be fun and vibrant. When I asked her what her secret to aging so gracefully was, she at first attributed it to her Chinese ancestry. I have great genetics, she said, laughing. The ancestral code goes deep. I feel it. But then she also told me about what she calls the secret life of Joyce, which one day maybe I'll write a book, and that'll be the book that I maybe won't publish, but I'll publish the other one. She said, laughing, it involves cultivating happiness, and she mentions more of that on page 285 and 287. Plenty of laughter, positive thoughts, meditating, family care, love, and alone time. And I think it's really, really good. It's really important for all of us to meditate in some way, shape or form. I have a lot of customers, I ask, do you meditate? They say no, because it's too hard. I said, just find some alone time. If gardening's your thing, and that's your form of meditation, then do that. You don't have to buy all that fancy leisure gear and go and find a group, for God's sake. But if you want to do nothing and do nothing, sit on the beach, get grounded, that's a form of meditation. Do whatever, where you can find that place of joy that you can go to and have some alone time, because that's really, really important. Empty out the head, empty out the brain, sauna, go sparring, whatever, go for a walk, go into the forest and get grounded. That's really, really important. I actually meditate. You're going to laugh. One form of my meditation is driving my V8 car. I'm a V8 hoon. I love it. I love it. I speed, but hey, I love it. I also sauna every second night. So I'm really lucky to have a low EMF, far infrared sauna. 45 minutes on highest heat, and I read my Tao books or my meditation books. And then I drink a couple of litres of water that are replenished with the body ecology, fulvic and humic minerals, replacing the minerals that I lose in sweat. Then I have a hot shower, then I have a cool shower. Then I hit, I don't know if I should say this, but I'll just say it. I hit what allows me to have that deep, deep REM sleep. When your body reaches that deep REM sleep, it allows your body to heal itself. I can do 3 to 5 hours and still wake up knowing that my body's had that great sleep. So I'll take a medicinal drink. I also hit the CBD oil. I've been doing for 5 years because I need to really wind down and I go to bed and I wake up and my head is absolutely empty. Whether it's 3-5 hours, my body's had that deep sleep. It's amazing. And then I get up and do my, 12, 13-hour days back in the store. So it's really cool. So, graceful aging in Joyce's book brings wisdom, resilience, and maturity. Age is just a number, she says, and she won't tell me hers. Fill your life with gratitude, thankfulness, love for self, family, friends, and life. Embrace it all. Anyway, it goes on. So I just wanted to share that with you. We spoke about last month the PFAs, the forever chemicals, a substance used in consumer products around the world for the last 70 years, apparently. They're ingredients in our everyday products. For example, PFAs are used to keep food from sticking to our packaging or cookware, makes our clothes and carpets water resistant, stain resistant, and create firefighting foam that is more effective. Unfortunately, PFAs are almost impossible to avoid. They're found in our homes, in our workplaces and supermarkets, just about everywhere, linked to a range of health risks in humans. It's a hormone disruptor, liver and thyroid problems is what it leads to. Vaccine effectiveness, reproductive harm, abnormal fetal development. It's in our clothes, the water, and in our food system. So we need to take action. Replace our non-stick cookware with stainless steel cookware, or cast iron, or glass, or ceramic. Ditch the aluminum stuff. And I think I said that when we were really, really poor, we only had new aluminum pots. When you boil water, it leaves a black ring around it. When you steaming things, you put lemon in the water, it doesn't leave that black ring. But I remember we used to have a race, and it was part of our horrid fun, to clean the aluminum pots, to see who could get it the cleanest, and I could still smell and remember that aluminum coming out. We thought we were smart, not so smart. It's linked to Alzheimer's. So, you don't heat up food, so you ditch the aluminum stuff. Don't heat up food that's wrapped in grease-resistant packaging. We don't make popcorn for kids. So you should make popcorn for kids on stovetops instead of microwaves, even though they love hearing a pop. It's not that hard. Pizza boxes, that's full of the PFAS. So packaging that's BPI certified does not contain PFAS. Unfortunately, manufacturers are not required to inform us as a consumer to the presence of PFAS in their products. Our homes are loaded with it. Mattress we sleep on, the umbrella you use, your cosmetics, your dental floss, all that leaves us very, very vulnerable. We need to take action. The simplest way to reduce the PFAS exposure is to opt against buying any furniture, rugs, or any bedding that is labelled as being waterproof or stain repellent. Or you check it out on the manufacturer's website. Something to think about: deodorants, contact lenses, our green beauty makeup, lip balms, condoms, lubricants, dental floss, tampons, sanitary wear, powdered electrolytes, butter wrappers, pasta and pasta sauces, nut butters, peanut butter, cooking oils, ketchup, yoga mats, active sportswear, sports bras, parchment paper, cup liners, plastic-free, waterproof straws. We've talked about that. So, also baby strollers, fast food packaging, kids' backpacks. And even a new car, when you jump into that new car, it has that amazing new car smell. So toxic. Laundry detergent. 75% of the tested brands showed organic fluorine levels. Above 10 parts per million, it shows us that there's PFAS presence. They are linked to health issues, reducing our immunity, increased cancer risks, endocrine disruptors, which means it messes with your hormones, and developmental problems in our children. They stay in our body and in the environment for years to come. And it's really hard to detox that out of our immune system, out of our organs. You actually need to look really deeper, and maybe there are people who do homeopathy, but deep causative homeopathics very, very specific, not really expensive, and it's worthwhile finding out more about them. So, 2 I actually happen to have. True Earth laundry strips. Do you want to pass that around?
Sure.
And another one for baby laundry. They actually test free of any crap that we don't need. They're the only ones that test free from organic fluoride. So we mentioned the whole list of stuff that we need to be getting rid of. And that's available online. So for women's care products, tampons, menstrual cups, it's something called toxic shock syndrome. It actually makes you sick, but it takes a lot for the doctors to figure it out. So it's rare and potentially life-threatening that is thought to be caused by infection of certain types of bacteria. Women who've had their period menstruating are most likely at risk of getting TSS, which is the toxic shock syndrome. So at IE Produce, we stock Natural Care, which is from organic cotton, the pads and the menstrual cups. They're non-toxic, pesticide and plastic free. They're certified to the global organic textile standards, and it adds extra precaution to guarantee the safety and the quality. So it's all about reading the label and finding out on their website what it's all about. Organic Initiative is another brand we sell, tampons and pads, cups and liners. It's a New Zealand company, and they're certified organic. They're certified tampons. The organic cotton's grown without toxic sprays or pesticides. No chlorine is used to bleach the cotton. Also GOTS certified. What about the makeup? There's a whole list of makeup that is being tested and that is toxic. And I'd like to pass that around if anybody wants to have a look at it. It's available online. We have a brand called Anika. It's mineral rock out of Australia, certified organic. Unfortunately now there is a New Zealand distributor. We have a certain amount of stock which we are slowly selling out of. There is a website where you can purchase it. It is, I think, unfortunately, a New Zealand landing page with an Australian, from the Australian original website. We're trying to get another company to import it, so it makes life easier for all the retailers. There's Dr. Hauschka that we're looking at, that's still a few months away. Leisure wear. I mean, we all want to look great. We all want to go to our yoga classes in our gym and our, looking great and walking out looking even greater. And there's a heck of a lot out of it. So there are PFAS in our activewear. And it's such a common thing that we wear every day now. You can be anywhere and you see women, girls, guys in leisure wear and all this stuff, Nikes, Puma, whatever, lifestyle stuff. And why not? Because it is so comfy. And we want stain resistant, we want water resistance, we want moisture wicking, and we want sweat wicking. So that's the reason why we want all that good stuff. But activewear, tested by a laboratory, found detectable levels of organic fluorine, mostly around inside the crotch area. Sprays and lubricants on equipment are used to lubricate, to keep it running smoothly, and that's what the PFAS are. And this also cleans out chemicals on manufacturing chemicals. So imagine what it does for us. There are certain brands, Nike have a high-rise sports leggings, which is actually what I've got on, Reebok, and anything that's certified organic. We just need to do the research.
Sorry, just a point of clarification. So the PFFAs, is that just a generic term for any very persistent residual chemical?
It's per and pro.
Oh,
Something, alky, something or other. I've got it written down somewhere.
I think it's polyfluoroalkyl.
That's it.
It's
That's it.
a a class of over 100 chemicals that have
Right.
a fluoride chlorine bond.
Oh,
Yeah,
Also known as the forever chemicals.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you. That's it.
And are they, I mean, you mentioned in clothing and in other textiles, etc. Like, are they quite, I guess my question, well, it's probably a complicated question, but do they...
I don't do complicated. I'm a retailer.
Put it out there anyway. Do they, my question is like, you know, you put them in those clothes in the wash, for instance.
Yeah.
Are they somewhat soluble? Are they leachable? Or like with multiple washes, do they leach out?
I don't think they do.
They actually stay.
Yeah,
They're quite,
I'm pretty sure they do.
They have a tendency to bind
Yeah.
to
They're there for a purpose.
yeah.
Yeah, and the consumer, we all want this, that, and whatever.
Yeah.
So going back to laundrying, we use too much. When the container has directions or instructions, it says to use a capful. We do not need to use that. It's all about marketing. It's all about making money. And also dishwashers, those tablets you use, is it really necessary? I have a dishwasher that I store all my upcycling glass bottles in. That's all I have hold it in there for like a space. For washing my dishes, my glass jars, I don't use any dishwashing liquid.
Just hot water?
Just hot water. And or baking soda, or apple cider vinegar. And I use a really cool type of bamboo dishwashing brush with a wooden handle. Today, I had a customer come in, and there wouldn't be a day that I don't, or one of my staff's, people that come in and they've used too much laundry liquid or powder on their clothes. It's actually very intoxicating. I can't stand the smell. I have to walk away. We don't need to use that much. Our clothes actually aren't dirty. We're not dirty. We self-clean. I know people who don't ever use shampoo. It's actually quite healthy. Your body gets used to it. It self-cleans. It's amazing. So, with organic farmers, they manage the soils and the nutrients scientifically to prevent and reduce leaching into waterways. They don't use toxic chemicals that could pollute waterways. That's actually off the BioGrow website. So, organic meats. We have a organic farm butchery that supplies with meat. We used to have another one called Harmony Meats. I no longer use them because they do conventional and they do organic. But their cuts of meat are so big and I think they're overpriced. So now I only use organic farm butchery. They're based in Hawke's Bay. No pesticides, no herbicides, no sprays, no fungicides, no fertilizers, no runoff on lands, no synthetic drenching. Soil health, the first 2 feet is humic, healthy. I guess you guys would know this. Lesser carbon footprint, better quality food, better planet, smaller produced by small family farms, supports local communities, and jobs for local communities are created. I use them because they're legit. I know I can trust them. They deliver to me every Tuesday. They ring me every Monday. Up from Hawke's Bay, it's at my door every Tuesday. There's no broken chain of transporting from chillers. The chicken that we use is Bostock, and we totally trust them. They unfortunately have sold, and I think takeover date is due soon, and they have sold to, and we hope nothing changes, but I know when these things happen, somewhere along the line, it gets diluted. We're hoping that it doesn't. I think who they've sold to is an Australian company. They're in supermarkets and I can't remember the name. If you told me, I would know. Oh. They're a supermarket brand. They're not organic. They're There's nothing we can do about it. Sorry.
Is it just just like the livestock chicken, is it, or is it Bostock
The Bostock chicken.
And because they do apples as
Yeah, I'm not sure about the orchards. It's a big brand in the supermarkets, and they're not
Well, there's
organic.
Waitoa,
No,
and there's
it's another one, Jack and Jill's.
not sure. So anyway, currently there's still Bostock. So they're antibiotic, hormone-free, GMO-free, chemical-free, and chlorine. They deliver to us twice a week, Wednesday and Fridays. I guess they have their reasons for why they want to sell, and it is what it is, I guess.
the sons were
The sun,
the chicken.
yeah, the sons, and the apple orchards, the chooks run around in apple orchards. They started that because they lost their mother to cancer. That was the beginning of their journey. Another thing I want to talk about is fermented foods. Who eats fermented foods?
What sort of food?
Fermented foods.
Oh, a bit. But it's
Just a
high
little-
histamine, so I can't have too much.
Pardon me?
High histamine,
That's correct.
yeah, so it's just not having too much.
Yeah, except for me. I'll sit and eat half a jar. It's my genes, my DNA. We've been doing it for thousands of years, right? But all good things in moderation, right?
Except fermented foods.
So fermented foods, kefir and yogurt, dry cured cottage cheese or fermented cottage cheese, aged cheeses, certain types. You've got to check the label for the live and active cultures. Fermented vegetables, tempeh, miso paste or miso powder, pickles and salt, not vinegar, kimchi, sauerkraut, refrigerated, not shelf stable, not ambient, because that's pasteurized and it's literally dead. Sorry. Kombucha, no sugar. So all kombuchas are not equal, depending on how they fermented, depending on their sugar level. Other drinks like beet kvass, apple cider vinegar. So we try to incorporate fermented foods in our everyday life. Make a change for your gut health's sake. Gut-brain connection, head-brain, the gut rules. That's why, for us girls, we're so intuitive. We listen to our gut. We know what's good for us. You guys, you just got to learn to do it better. So, and you're getting better. So, when somebody is standing in the shop and they can't decide what they want, I say, just don't even think about it. Just look at it and tell me what you think. And I tell them, don't think, listen to your gut. Don't overthink it. So instantaneous, what are you telling me? Pick, choose, where's your hand going? And I tell them, it's trusting your intuition. That's what you need to do. Not the head brain. Our gut, it tells us what our body needs. So fermented foods, apple cider vinegar is made by crushing apples and allowing yeast to ferment the natural sugars into acetic acid. It is the unfiltered vinegar that retains the benefits because it retains what we call the mother, and that's the cloudy stuff that we don't like the look of, and that's what we need. So the mother is a collection of the proteins, enzymes, and friendly bacteria. You'll recognise it as unfiltered product because it will appear cloudy in the bottle. Cheeses, aged cheddar cheese, Parmesan, Gouda, and mozzarella. Some cheese varieties are more effective than a probiotic, believe it or not. Supplement for delivering intact beneficial bacteria, probiotics, to the gut. Mozzarella, the Italian soft type of fresh cheese, but many vary depending on the type of milk they use. Now, Hohepa farms down in Hawke's Bay, they're biodynamic. They have the most amazing mozzarella. Oh my God, it is amazing. They're the only one that is biodynamic certified. There's Matatoki Farm cheese in Thames. They're, I think, BioGrow certified or Shore Quality certified. They also do ghee. I wanted ghee, they made me ghee, and that's what we should be using for cooking. Kefir, Kefir benefits from a more diverse composition of beneficial bacteria and yeast than yogurt does. Numerous benefits for our health and improving digestion. So I believe I use the kefir powder in my raw milk that I get dropped off to me every week from Magnolia Farms. If I don't have that, I use the Durham Farm A2 unhomogenized, pasteurized, unfortunately, so supplement. I believe you can get the kefir milk grains off a Facebook group, and they should never be sold, they should always be given to you. Same as the water kefir grains, same as the kombucha scobies. The milk grains, they multiply like crazy. They're cool to work with, so I kind of gave up on those. And so I use the Bodycology ones from the US. They are unfortunately $60 for a packet of 6 sachets. Now, I saved some of the mother, and you can reuse the mother no more than 5 or 6 times, because sometimes then some of the strains of bacteria get weaker, some get stronger. There's another brand that I have which is half the price. When I don't have the Bodycology ones, they're the ones I have to go to. So I make sure I always have a stash of the Bodycology ones. So I'm out of stock, don't ask me, because I'm not going to share. Kimchi, a fermented combination of vegetables and spices. Traditionally Korean, now popular globally. The process of fermentation by mainly lactobacillus bacteria enhances the nutritional value of kimchi. Adding kimchi to your everyday diet may help you manage cholesterol and balance your blood sugar levels. You can add it to your fried rice, your noodles, your scrambled eggs, pancakes, or just have it on its own. Just have a little dollop. If you don't like it too hot, if you bring it out at room temperature, the spices are less hot. So when people are starting on their fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut journey, I tell them start with the plain ones and then work towards the more spicy ones. Go for the red ones and then go into the spicy ones. Some people can have allergies to the spices. Kombucha, a mild fizzy fermented drink, sweetened tea in a specific culture known as a SCOBY, a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. The bacteria and yeast in the SCOBY converts the sugar into ethanol and acetic acid. The acetic acid is responsible for the kombucha's distinctive sour taste. There's one brand out there called Daily Organics. They're bio certified. I'm not allowed to sell it because the alcohol content is too high. Not allowed. They won't let me have it. And I think that and I'm not an expert, I think that the fermentation process isn't quite correct, but I guess they know what they're doing. If it was correct, the alcohol content wouldn't be as high. And I believe as kombucha suppliers, they have to have each batch tested. Quite interesting. Yes. A lot of the other kombuchas around in supermarkets are not fermented traditionally as kombucha should be. They're what we call lolly water. You can't produce what you produce and have ingredients that you have and it's cheap as chips. It doesn't happen. But it's all about marketing and it's all about making money. Natto, a traditional Chinese dish of fermented soybeans. Traditionally consumed at breakfast, it has beneficial effect on the gut, contains 100 times more vitamin K than some cheeses. It's not easy to find and it's not easy to eat and it's not easy to appealing on the eye. So we used to sell
Is that the K2 in the NATO?
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
but you can't get it.
I refer people to go to a Japanese store because it's Japanese and that's where you'll find it. People used to describe it to me as not. Literally. Just so good for us. Olives. Olives are one of the most popular fermented foods, believe it or not. Their natural saltwater fermentation makes them rich in lactobacillus, one of the most influential species of gut-friendly bacteria. Tempeh. The protein provides an alternative. It's traditional soy product made from fermented soybeans. We need to make sure that it's organic because of the whole soy thing and its GMO status.
It's not made in aluminium.
Yeah, so with the going back to the tofu, we have one. It's the Organic Soy Company. They're Bio certified. I wouldn't trust any other. They have a tempeh as well. It's rich in bone-friendly minerals, including calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and it's easy to digest. Sauerkraut, or sour cabbage, is essentially fermented cabbage, thought to have originated in China more than 2,000 years ago. The fermentation process initiates certain beneficial microbes, and it's these, along with the process itself, that makes sauerkraut a healthy choice. Just make it part of your everyday life. You have a dollop of two twice a day. If when you start eating sauerkraut, and if you find yourself going to the fridge, grabbing some more because it's new food, it's because your body's depleted and it's telling you it wants and it craves more sauerkraut. That will then balance out. Sourdough. I mean, who doesn't love bread? We all love bread, right? So, just 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, and a starter culture. Sourdough is easier to digest and highly nutritious. It's a starter that combined with the long fermentation which holds the key to the sourdough texture. I love sourdough. I have sourdough every day. The longer I keep it, the more fermented, the more rotteny and fermented. It's amazing. I love it. We have some sourdoughs in the shop, and we're about to get some sourdough making kits from Australia in the store next week.
How much?
Sorry?
How much?
No idea at this stage. They're sitting in a box in my back room. They were delivered today. And waking up to that bread out of the oven or out of your bread machine is just intoxicating. Yogurt. 100 gram serving daily may be beneficial for mood and outlook. This is likely to be because of the relationship between beneficial bacteria in our gut and the role they play in producing that feel-good transmitter such as serotonin and dopamine. So, not to eat fermented foods. You've got to check it out if you're pregnant or children under a year or immune compromised. If you're allergic to an ingredient in fermented foods, then it will cause a problem, especially in the kimchi with the spices. Fermented foods may be high in histamines, as you mentioned, and MSG, naturally occurring MSG, in the store-bought ones. Is it better to take a probiotic or eat fermented foods? Fermented foods may enhance gut health better than a probiotic supplement. It is always preferable to get probiotics from the foods you eat. And as we all know, food is our medicine. Can we get enough from food? Probably not. That's why we do have a bit of supplementation.
Yeah. Diversity, don't you?
That's right. Is all sauerkraut equal? Ambient, shelf-stable, pasteurized, no longer living. So we need to have the chilled and the raw unpasteurized. Check label. Same as the miso. If it's raw and unpasteurized, it will always be sold chilled. If it's shelf-stable, ambient, or the powdered, then it's not so active. But it's convenience, and the powdered ones in the sachet you can use just like the chilled paste in your cooking and in your broths and your gravies, whatever. It's amazing. Can you cook sauerkraut? Cooking will kill off probiotic bacteria that we all want to consume. So if you're going to cook it, don't, just lightly. Sauerkraut reduces bloating and helps you to digest food you eat. So, when you're eating sauerkrauts or pickled foods or wild fermented foods, we all think, oh my God, this is what it's doing. It's giving me a fatter stomach. I'm losing weight. But it's the bloating that it's actually getting rid of. So, chock full of probiotics, and so we need to add it to our daily diet to protect your gut from being overtaken by the bad guys that can wreak havoc in your immune system. You can eat it out of the jar and have fun with it. So, OANZ, Organic Aotearoa in New Zealand, put out something. Stand with Kiwi farmers to help keep Aotearoa's farms GE free. Do you want to pass that around?
Can I ask
That's really interesting.
one question about, the thing? I've used EM1, effective microorganisms,
Yep.
for my compost and stuff.
Yep.
And then I've also drunk it a few times,
Yep.
and I've had no effects. But that would be, I presume it's more for the soil things. But would it be good for your guts as well?
That I don't know. That you would need to do the research.
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you.
it seems to be quite. When I first looked into it, there was people who were using it, and
Did you like dilute it? Do you dilute it before you drank it? Before you drank it, did you dilute?
Well, you add it to molasses and breed it up, and and then you can use it on your whole crops and stuff like that. It's bokashi, same sort of thing, I presume that there's similar bacteria for, it's got acidophilus and all the rest of them. Some are light things, some are for in the dark and stuff like that. So it's got all those bacteria in them. So all you're doing is building up that
Correct.
in the soil.
Yeah.
It should be the same for your guts. So
Different, aren't they, in the soil?
yeah, but sort of.
Couldn't hurt. I mean,
No.
we're told to eat dirt
Yeah.
because our kids, our babies, our kids are too clean.
Parasites.
Yeah, that's right. And it's no different from, like I mentioned last month, in the plants, the food that we eat. The best ones are the outer leaves that the bugs eat. They're smart, they're smarter than us. They know the high dense nutrients. All the blemish fruit and vegetables, the fruit in particular, that's got the rust high up in the trees, that has that far infrared energy from the sun. That's what we should be reaching for. All the rustic fruit, all the blemish stuff. I recently bought a dehydrator actually. It's got 12 stainless steel trays, so in the summertime when that summer fruit comes in, that's what I'm going to be doing, and jarring it up. When the kids were little, I had a dehydrator. It was a round one from, I don't know, Kmart or something. I didn't know any better, and it was plastic. Yeah, we all had them, easy dry, we all had them. But yeah, I bought a stainless steel dehydrator, and that's what I'm going to do. Break it out on Saturday, start doing whatever's in season, and that's what I'll do. Food's getting scarce and it's getting more and more expensive. And Tamarola, the season's just coming to an end, so I took all the blemish ones, all the overripe ones, and I actually bottled them last night. Bottled them as opposed to stewing them. If I stew them and keep them in the fridge, after a few weeks they get mouldy, and I just can't figure out why. But if I bottle them hot, leave them to cool, I've got them for a whole year. So I'll pick up anything and I'll preserve it. I love it. So I'm always upcycling my jars. Love it. So we have a lady who, her name is Carol Macy, This is what she deals in. I'll pass it around. I haven't bought her cards. She does deep causative and effective homeopathy. I use her a lot. I send all my customers to her. It's not your typical over-the-counter homeopathics. It doesn't cost anybody any money to pick up the phone and talk to her. When I brought her on board into the business as what she does, as a service to I approach as customers, I said to her, can I trust her? She said yes. Can I trust that if any of my customers want your services, you're not going to rip them off? You can go to so many different healing modalities and services, and you go and you spend hundreds of dollars and get no result. And then we get despondent. Then we're going to look for something else. So she deals in toxic, poisoning, immune system, a lot of health issues, pesticides, herbicide, fungal poisoning. And of the 70,000 synthetic chemicals in commercial use today, 200 of them are identified as hormonal disruptors, thus toxic. And we're all grasping for help. We do our own research on Google. We think we know what we're doing, and we spend hundreds of dollars trying to detox and get our body right. But also, for me being Chinese, it's about getting and treating the root cause of any issue. And this is what this lady's about. And she is not expensive. She also uses the store as a drop-off and collection point. I don't care if people don't shop in the store, as long as they come and pick up their homeopathic remedies from her. She's really, really quite amazing.
What is her name?
Carol Macy.
Macy, C-E-Y?
I'll pass that one out. M-A-C-Y.
Oh, okay.
She lives, I think, just out of Auckland. All it takes is a phone call. Like I say to people, it doesn't cost you any money to pick up the phone. And by the time people come to me, they're pretty desperate. Even if it's something like bad eczema. And I think, I can say to you, look at the types of food, get off the wheat, get off the gluten, but you're not getting to the root cause of the issue. Why is this happening to you? You can do kinesiology, you can do a whole lot of other healing modalities, but you also need to detox all the crap out of our organs, out of our cells, before we can start rebuilding. There is a gluten-free section in the store. When I first started the business, I didn't have a clue what gluten-free was. But my youngest one had a little bit of eczema on the back of his neck. So we cut out the dairy, cut out the gluten, which is wheat, rye, oats and barley, and it fixed it. And also being Chinese, what the heck am I doing with eating white bread and all that stuff? That's got gluten, for God's sakes. I should be sticking to the Chinese food like rice, that doesn't have gluten. So we knocked it on the head, we fixed it. So ever since from that day, I've been really, really conscious. I bought gluten-free on board because people were asking me, they wanted gluten-free foods. So we brought that on board. Back in those days, there were only 2 brands, All Ran and Freedom Foods. Things have evolved since then, and then we start with organic. So it was getting on board with gluten-free. It's there as a gluten-free. Ingredients are what they are, and we're really grateful for that, but then we can do it better. Then I learned about organics, and then organic gluten-free. So I moved people along. Then we had paleo, and then we have keto. So, we're still doing gluten-free, drop the paleo, do keto. It's a much better way to go. And we've kept the organic gluten-free. And it all comes at a different price point. But for people who are diagnosed as celiacs, it is very daunting for them. They don't know where to start. So the easiest thing for me to do is to point them where the gluten-free corner is, say, hey, this is it. And it's also now low FODMAP is the new little logo you'll see. And I think next weekend there is a gluten-free show out at Manukau somewhere. Friday, 4 o'clock to 6 if you want to pay more money for tickets. Otherwise it's 10 o'clock to 4 on Saturday. They are selling and also exhibiting. And I think it's also in conjunction with Celiac Society. We used to be a member of Celiac Society. We no longer are since they became corporate owned. They don't need the little guys anymore. And the cost of being certified, I guess, or as a paid member is actually quite expensive. So if you know anyone that's gluten-free, get them along to that.
They have a lot of rubbish in the gluten-free range.
They do, but it's an easy place for people to start because it's quite daunting for them. That's why I drive to the gluten-free corner. But if I take them to different parts of the shop, then it's even more daunting. But I tell them you've got to do your research, and it gets better and better for them. A lot of products in the store are gluten-free, but not labelled as gluten-free. They just so happen to be gluten-free. But for those companies, their focus is not being gluten-free. It's about raw, activated, healthy snacks. So that's why it's really important that you just got to do your research. And even that on its own is quite daunting. It takes time. And why not have a shortcut when you can walk into the store and say, hey, what do you got? And or sugar-free. And I'll say, yeah, we've got sugar-free stuff, but the sugar-free food is replaced with other sugar alternatives. And is that what we want?
Yeah, well, I was just doing some research on that today, and I found it somewhere. The others weren't very good, but it's got fructose and something or other.
Yep.
Fructose and all sorts of artificial sweeteners and
Correct.
all sorts of stuff to make up for the sugar.
Correct.
We're better off with sugar.
Well, this is where you need to do the research, right?
You can't get it.
Yeah. So in the store, initially, when they wanted sugar-free, it was stevia. Everything is stevia. Now, if you know the stevia plant, it is green. And it's the processing of the stevia that gives you the bitter aftertaste. How can you turn something green into something that's white? It doesn't happen. Now you can get other sugar alternatives like xylitol, coconut sugar, maple syrup, your honey, monk fruit, which I like because that's from a fruit, otherwise called lakanto. But I always,
Coconut sugar.
coconut sugar,
Maple syrup.
yeah. But I always try and look on the ingredients list where it's at the beginning, middle, or at the end, where it's placed, because as you know, because you all read labels, the largest ingredient is at the beginning and the least is at the end. And I say to people, if you've got a good healthy product, why are you using crappy sugar alternative? Come back to me, it's like, but totally respect the choices, and it comes down to pricing as well, I guess. Or maybe they just haven't done enough research.
And they're full of gum, a lot of the.
Yeah.
Tried to replace the clinginess,
Yep.
which can be quite upsetting.
Yep.
So do you have any jams that are made with monk fruit, for instance?
No.
Well, there you go.
So there is a certified organic Te Horo harvest from down Wellington. They do certified organic jams, jellies, chutneys. I'm not sure what she uses for sugar, but she's certified organic. But all good things in moderation, right? Or you just make your own. Then you know what you're not putting into it.
True. You could make some.
You think I'm not busy?
You probably have time on Sunday.
You think I have nothing else to do?
Go around the car.
Yeah, less turning in the car, right? Yeah, you're right. Okay. That's the me time, right? Any questions?
Vanilli. Do you know
Vanetti, what do you want to know about them?
just what you think about them?
You know I'm being videoed.
Okay. Can you...
What's your question?
Quality.
Is there better?
I have a 6-seed one.
Yep.
It's paleo, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Has a fair, but it still has tapioca in it.
Mm-hmm.
Just wondered about, the purity or the quality, or doesn't have too much gum.
I think we're very, very lucky to have what we have, and there are choices for everybody. Everybody will try whatever gluten-free and keto just so happens to be gluten-free, whatever bread, and they will find their favourite bread. And I'm about choices for people.
But sometimes there's hidden things that we don't know about, just like tahini. You can see the different makes, they look a completely different colour than each other. And you think, oh yes, they're all meant to be organic, but...
Not unless there's certified organic, they're not organic. If they're using some organic ingredients, what about the rest of the ingredients? That's why I stick to who I have. And I know with organic tahini, you've got your black, which is black, you've got your hold or your unhold. I would always go for the unhold.
Yeah.
Because it's healthier. And people will still, because they don't like the look of it, they'll just grab their hold. I said, okay, fine, that's cool. It's choices. I've told you where it is. You make that choice. But for me as a retailer, as a health food store retailer, it's about healthy choices. I know which ones I prefer to have, and that's the sourdough. And I know which breads I'll be making, which will be the new sourdough kits that I get in store that are coming in from Australia. There's another bread, oh my goodness, does anybody know it? OMG. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 11 o'clock. Orders get priority. It's gluten-free. It's fabulous. Yeah, and I could sit and eat a whole flippin' loaf. My God, it's disgusting. But
I was going to ask you about your online shop.
Yep.
Just tell us a wee bit about how that works.
We have an online store, aproduce.com. We started that in the year 2000. When we started that, we actually won Auckland Virtual Top Shop Award, beat all the big guys. So about 7 years ago, we swung over to, it was a personalised one then. We were like a guinea pig, so it never cost me a lot of money. And it was about letting a company who creates website understand what we wanted as a retail website. And then he decided he wanted to quit after so many years. And then 7 years ago, we swung over to Shopify. Shopify is a very, very well-known online platform. They're based in Canada. Yes, they do take a tiny percentage, but that's okay. So when I had a meeting with the licensee in Auckland, I was at my accountant's office, and I told him, this is what I want. And he said to me, you know what you want? I said, yeah, because you guys know what you're doing. You build websites, but I know what I want as a retailer, as an online store. Give me what I want, and I do the rest. So I put everything, I load everything onto it. I do my own SEOs, I do everything. On the website, there are tiles on the homepage with brands and certain categories. You will not find everything on there because the store's just way too big. But people can email me. They can use the Shopify app and say, have I got this, have I got that? Happy to do an email online. It works really well. You've got the option of either picking up in store or paying for freight. We send anywhere out throughout New Zealand. I no longer send overseas, it's just too hard. Even yesterday I've got somebody from Australia on the online app saying, will I send Vcon, which is a gluten-free product, 3 jars overseas. And I say, you know, you've got fabulous organic stores, health food stores in Australia, go find it. It is so difficult. So difficult.
Yeah, well, I was just looking for a gluten-free bread, and I got some on Wednesday by Luke, and it's called Lucy's.
Lucy, she's based in Raglan.
Yeah, and it seems pretty good. I mean, it's got
It
sugar
is,
in it, but you know, it's hard to get
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
It's got that sourdough that you like.
yeah.
You can buy the OMG flour, you do the flour treat
Yeah.
and you make your own.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I've got time for that.
It's real easy, but
Only
imagine,
need 3 or 4
yeah,
days.
going to your house and you open it and it's got all that
Speaking of
amazing
sleep.
bread in it.
Speaking of sleep, you said you take CBD. Is that carrot?
CBD.
No. Is that? Yeah.
It's CBD oil.
Yeah. CBD.
That's one hallucinogen.
Sorry, sativa. You know,
You can ask Joyce afterwards.
marijuana.
I didn't say that.
CBD.
Yeah, but mine's the good
Yeah.
stuff.
But where do you get that then? I mean, do you sell that in your shop?
No, it's illegal.
Oh.
There is,
Description.
there's description only, there are cannabis clinics around. There's a drink called Zenza, Senza. Now and I sell that, can't remember how much it is. Clear bottle, amazing packaging. And I will also chug one of those bottles down, and it has the same benefits as it does. So it's the cannabinoids without the cannabis. It is so clever. There's another one called Good Herb Soda. They have an in zone and they have an unwind. And every night I have one of those unwind drinks. It's amazing and it has the same benefit.
So you have quite a bit then before you go to bed. You have the CBD, and then you have the Zenka, and then the soda.
Yeah,
Same.
but it helps me
You
to
wake up with the munchies.
I have that, it's 3 to 5 hours, short sleep, but deep sleep. And that's really important. I can stand up and sleep.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have a problem with sleep, so, it's like...
Or there's
getting
tart,
sleep, and then
there's
you can't
cherry
get back to
juice.
sleep.
Cherry juice? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Sour cherry.
It's a work on everyone.
Yes.
I used to share the Nicholas Roerich paintings, and in one of the books written by Nicholas Roerich, he did 7,000, and we had 200 on the slideshow. I took it all over Auckland. In the book called, I can't remember which book, they've got lovely titles like Infinity, Heart, New Era Community, Fiery World. One of the books says, from the masters, if you want to have a good sleep, have some milk and honey before you go to bed.
Great idea.
Try, you can always give something a try like you would the other thing.
No, I've had it with milk and honey, and it doesn't.
And the other thing you can do is simply just burn a candle. It's so therapeutic. As long as it's not a paraffin candle,
I
okay?
was going to say a soy again.
It's gotta be soy, preferably not beeswax. So paraffin candles are so bad. If you're a heavy paraffin candle, normal candle burner, if you get a picture on the wall, you pull that picture off, you'll see how clean that is behind that picture, and the rest of it is actually black. So soy candles, 100% cotton wick. And they have a very long burn time. You can actually dip your finger in the wax and use it like a massage. It's amazing. You can spill it, it doesn't burn.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, with Lucy's bread, it comes
Yep.
in a, I was just wondering if it had that PFAs on the inside of the bag, because it's all sort of shiny on the inside. So it doesn't stick.
Not sure. I know the bread. I haven't brought it on board yet. It hasn't been offered to me. But I'm really fortunate.
Farrows.
Yeah, because I've got the OMG bread. I'm happy with them.
Oh,
Sell loads of it. A lot of people freeze it.
okay.
I actually don't cut it across that way. I cut it that way, and I have it as an open sandwich. Goes further. Any other questions?
Yes, you mentioned that there was a certifier for PFAS-free packaging. That was BPI, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
What,
Yeah,
does it,
they'll
do they
tell
have a
you.
mark on the packaging?
I'm not sure because manufacturers are not They do not have to divulge anything about their packaging. They don't. It's just like food manufacturers. If I think the percentage is less than 10%, they don't have to divulge the rest of the ingredients.
So do the Tetra Packs have that stuff in them?
Tetra Pak, I know, Tetra Pak.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
soya.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you one thing. So it's the lining, right?
Yeah.
So the cereals and the Chantal beans, the cans are BPA free. When cereals first brought them on board, before they got into it, I was bringing in the canned beans at a really good price from a company, Global Organics, I think, out of Australia, and they caught sight of it. And then they decided to come on board. And I said to them, tomatoes are acidic. We need to have the cans BPA free. So they worked on it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
What did they do?
They decided to get their cans BPA free lined because they weren't.
Right.
You go to the supermarket and you get a tin of whatever, and pineapple is probably the worst, or canned tomatoes. And you open it, you can smell the tin. You can smell it. And you wouldn't eat it because you know now. But we didn't know what we didn't know before. Now we know. We can never go back. You can't, give back that information. You've got that information. We have to move forward.
But a tin's all right though, surely.
Not if it's lined with BPA.
Strength.
Not in my golf, sorry.
What's the postage
For
a rural delivery
how rural?
Well,
on the edge of Waikato?
Probably $12. So here's the thing. It's generally $6 within Auckland, right? And then you get outside of Auckland, and it could be $12. But if you're really rural, you'll still get it, and you'll pay the $12. But what happens is the courier company will invoice me for the extra, but I won't hit you up for the extra. I'll pay it. I don't care.
It's not courier, but it will just be rural delivery.
But it goes by courier. All our deliveries are done by courier.
I think they go so far and then they're handed over to the rural delivery.
To somebody else. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that $12 doesn't cover it, I'll get it. I have all these little invoices, little charges of, $1.80, $2, $5, or whatever, and I get billed and I just pay them. It really doesn't matter to me. More importantly, is that you get your delivery.
Yeah, because cereals, their postage makes it a bit not viable.
Why do you say that?
Well, say for a jar of tahini, it would.
Well, no, you'd have to get a few jars, wouldn't you? And a few other things.
To make it worthwhile. So, as far as I know, as a retailer, I cannot charge for packaging, and you can't make money on freight. We don't. It's illegal. I'd rather have you back as a consumer, as a customer, than not at all.
Probably